Welcome, healthy friends, to the Reality of Health podcast. Today we're talking about the 4 ways you actually die of these diseases you see on the screen right now. We're going to get into the fact that outside of the 4th one, which is trauma, you actually hurt yourself or you're in a car accident or something like that, I'm going to tell you, we're going to deep dive, so to speak, the 3 main reasons why you get these and why you die from them. I know in my original episodes, when I first started, I gave you reasons you get sick and die. That was a little more broad. This, very concise. This is easy now for you to get. When you see these things, you'll be able to know for yourself that is caused by this thing. Once you know, then it'll help you for the rest of your life know when you are diagnosed with something, what caused that. So let's get into it. Leading causes of death. As you can see, heart disease is number 1. 703,000 people. This is for US, by the way. That is a malnourishment problem. Also, a water issue, and believe it or not, salt issue falls under malnutrition. Cancer, that is from poisoning. Accidents, obviously, that's the 4th one we have issues with, which I hope no one has to deal with. At least the rest of these you could work on. The 4th one there you see is C19. Not sure that number is totally accurate, if you know what I'm talking about. But regardless, that doesn't exist. No such thing as a virus. There, you see hear that? That was 50% of the people turning it off because they believe viruses exist. Well, I'm telling you, they don't. Free your mind. Don't be in fear. Okay. Stroke. That is a malnutrition and electrical issue. So malnutrition leads to the wrong salt. You also have the wrong water or not enough water. You then have electrical issues because you have not enough salt, bad water or no water, no minerals to conduct electricity. Your body freaks out and it doesn't know what to do with the electrical flow it does have. So it centers itself in the brain and boom, you had a discharge. Bad. Chronic lower respiratory diseases, known as CLPD, that is malnourishment, not good water, and not enough salt. That can be remedied very easily. Control your diet. And by the way, when I say malnourishment, I'm talking about over or under nourishment. We're going to get into that. Alzheimer's disease, that is a malnutrition. Basically, cholesterol, not enough cholesterol, and too much carbs and sugar. Easily fixable. You could even throw in there not enough minerals. Better water would help, and of course, really good salt. Diabetes. Isn't that staggering to think that, I know it's not good to say this, but 101,000 people compared to 703,000 people? Diabetes is malnourishment. It is overeating of carbs and sugar. And bad water, not enough salt, not enough good food like cholesterol and meat. So essentially your body's running on sugar instead of on good nutrients. All right. Nephritis, nephrotic syndrome, and nephrosis. That is all about the kidneys. What do we associate with kidneys? That would be water, firstly. What do your kidneys do? Well, they filter out things that your body doesn't want. like bad salt. So bad salt, not good water, you're going to have this issue right here. All kinds of kidney problems. The second thing associated with that is poisoning. It's got to get it out. And it knows poisons and it knows good stuff. Got to get the poisons out. And when poisons are around, it kills tissue. So your kidneys are trying to get out the chemicals, poisons. At the same time, it's hurting it. So this is why good water is very, very important, and a good diet. Chronic liver disease and cirrhosis. This is all about malnutrition. Too much sugar causes these. Alcohol, we know, is a sugar. If you consume good quality food, good salt, plenty of meat, good saturated fat, that doesn't happen. Plus, once that's happening and then you add too many poisons, that is your result. Chronic liver disease and cirrhosis. Your liver filters out and changes poisons into either things that you can actually use, believe it or not, and also things that it lowers its toxicity so your body can deal with it in other ways, like the kidneys or the bowels or the skin or the breath. All right. So how long? Well, first let's get into this one. And by the way, did you notice what was not on that list? That would be prescription drugs. There's another one I'm going to get into in a second. But essentially, prescription drugs kill us more than you might think. I'm going to read this for those of you who are listening on audio platforms. Our prescription drugs are the third leading cause of death after heart disease and cancer in the United States and Europe. Around half of those who die have taken their drugs correctly. The other half die because of errors, such as too high a dose or use of a drug despite contraindications. Did you hear that? Taken their drugs correctly. So the doctor did his job, the drug didn't. The other half die of errors. That means the doctor did it, not the drug. Our drug agencies are not particularly helpful, as they rely on fake fixes, which are a long list of warnings, precautions, and contraindications for each drug, although they know that no doctor can possibly master all of these. Major reasons for the many drug deaths are impotent drug regulation. Somebody's not doing their job on the regulation side. Widespread crime that includes corruption of the scientific evidence about drugs. What? Widespread crime of the scientific evidence? You don't say. You mean to tell me that they lie? Yeah, they do. And bribery of doctors. I've heard, Eric, that doesn't exist. And then other times I've heard doctors say, yeah, oh yeah, we get tons of it. So where is it? Maybe some doctors don't deal with it. Maybe others do. And lies in drug marketing. Brought to you by Pfizer. Speak to your doctor if you're concerned about whatever. And then they go over all the list of side effects, which is as harmful as tobacco marketing and therefore should be banned. This is, for those of you on audio, this is the National Library of Medicine in PubMed, okay? We should take far fewer drugs, and patients should carefully study the package inserts of the drugs their doctors prescribe for them, and independent information sources about drugs such as Cochrane reviews, which will make it easier for them to say, no thanks, I'm going to try something else. Leave me alone. I'm going to go talk to Eric or anybody else that seems to care actually about my health. Yeah, I just said it. Well, this is why. John T. James, PhD, explains that preventable medical errors are among the leading cause of death in the United States, accounting for as many as 400,000 deaths per year. You just saw heart disease, 703, cancer, 609,000, accidents, 227. So what does that make doctors? The third in line. I know doctors. They're some of my favorite people. I'm sure they know this. And those that are listening, we got to do something about this. This is not right. Anyway. So how long do you actually live? Well, according to Health System Tracker, 78.8 years in 2019 before the C-19 pandemic. The average life expectancy at birth among comparable countries was 82.2. So, if you live in America, yep, you die earlier. That would be our way of life, which happens to include all kinds of poisons. This is a chart of when you get sick, and it is extraordinary to say the least. For those of you listening audio, you got to go watch the video of this so you can see it. But what's very, very interesting is how this spiral, which is inner circle is 0, that's you just got born, 20 years old, 40 years old, 60 years old, and then they're going to go deeper. But look at all of those, well, they call them diseases. Some of these are just symptoms. And pretty much all of these could be segmented into just 3 things, which we've talked about. But notice, so 0, what are you going to be here? You're maybe, 10, 12, and then boom, 20 years old, sickle cell and acne. Okay, then they'll start getting bigger. Now you're passing your 20s. Now you're in your 30s. Look at all these coming in. Now you're getting close to 40. And look at all of those. All of that. All right? Okay. By ethnicity. Interesting, but doesn't really matter to me because everybody gets sick. Now we get into 0 to 80 years old. So here's where we started at the 40. Now you're 50. You're approaching 60. And then this is the mark right in here that they claim, like this is the problem. Once you hit here, it's very difficult to reverse it. So then we get all the way up to about full 60. All right, we go past the ethnicity. Now we're into, almost 100 years old. So here we're at 60. You see how it's increasing as you get older, just almost on an actual specific spiral line. It just gets larger and larger, just every year, more and more and more and more and more. Interesting that a lot of these are, like I said, symptoms, but notice how many more you have as you get older. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Don't put yourself here is the point of this. By not taking care of yourself early, this is where you end up with all of those disease symptoms. So yeah, when they say 40, you start feeling it. Now you just saw why. Don't be here. They also say that all that stuff you just saw, many of those things are all genetic. That puts you here. Well, your mom had it, your dad had it. No. Nope. I did episode 66. No such thing. It's all lies. And in here, I talk about many of the things that they tell you are true and are absolutely not proven whatsoever. And they just tangle a web of lies. And one of those things is genetics. So, it might be a fun episode. It's only 41 minutes. Knock yourself out. If you have 3 general things that get you sick and kill you, the first one is poisoning. And this is why your own microbiome, your microzymas, your somatids, all this stuff kicks in to keep you healthy. This right here is a list of, from OSHA, all the chemicals that you deal with for the most part. There's more than this, but these are the main ones. These are in your life in every way, from work to home. It's in your mattress, it's in your car. I've gone over poisons and toxins in your life extensively. I have a lot of videos. Well, not videos because I did it audio first. I have a lot of episodes on poisons and toxins around you. I'm going to scroll this really quick, but just so you can see how crazy all of this is. That's amazing. And it just keeps going. By the way, it only stops at T. Pretty sure there's more than just the letter T. Pretty sure there's more than that. So this is the first way you get sick and the most catastrophic as far as chronic, and all of a sudden you just have diarrhea or vomiting or something similar because your body either had this, you took it in, or it was someplace in the body and the body's trying to get it out. It finally gets it to something like your bowels, and then your bowels go, oh no, I'm getting this out, and it just goes. So there's a lot of ways your body pushes toxins out. The next major one is sugar. Yes, it is a poison. It causes everything, and it makes everything you have worse. I'm sorry. I know no one wants to hear it, but it's the truth. If you're here about the reality of your health, you need to know this and get rid of this out of your life. It's just the way it is. I know it's terrible, but they got you hooked. You got to do something about sugar. It will destroy you. It is a poison, and I'm not just saying that. It literally is. And anybody who wants to counter me on that, great, fine, get in the comments. Show me the proof that sugar is good for you and it doesn't harm you. And I'm not saying you can't handle it. Your body, of course, can handle it, but in very small amounts. Oh, but there's honey and maple syrup and all this kind of stuff. Sure, small amounts. Okay, you know what else is actually really bad for you? That's poisonous. Yep. Tap water. I picked this photo because it's brown water coming out of your tap, because that's how it should look. That is the reality of your tap water is closer to that than when it is clear. All they've done is well, let me backtrack. They have done so many things to the water to make it clear so you think that it's clean. It is not clean. It was, I want to say, early 90s, known that there was over 30,000 known contaminants in water. I'm willing to bet you it's probably double that now. And guess what's in there? Yep, pharmaceutical drugs. I picked this picture because here we have left side money, and the right side we have pills. So these things poison you and give you all kinds of diseases. They do not help you whatsoever unless it is a extremely specific and emergency situation. Then you never ever need these. These destroy all the water in your body, all the minerals, your proteins. They break you down. All they do is stop the symptoms, of which those symptoms are telling you, you have a situation, I'm trying to heal you. They stop the healing. What happens if you stop healing? What's the opposite of healing? Starts with a D. And then, of course, tons of money. So they're not going to stop their system. It's totally evil. The other one you have is heavy metals. Notice this graphic. And there's one here that stands out. Well, there's two that stands out more than anything. But the biggest one that really irks me is the very first one. Baby food. Wow. Can you imagine the fact that the people who make baby food literally do not care about your child whatsoever? You cannot use baby food from the store. But Eric, I buy organic. Doesn't matter. They don't test for it. You need to know where you're getting your food for your baby. The weakest your baby will ever be, your child, is when they're a baby. The other one that stands out is spinach. Do not ever eat spinach. It is horrible for your health. There is no redeeming quality to it. And anybody who wants to say, well, but it's a green, it must be good for you. Do your own research, come back and tell me I'm wrong on that one. I'm sorry. You might like spinach, but you shouldn't eat it. It's pretty much next to kale the worst green you can get. The rest of these are all fun foods. We all know potatoes, nuts, cereals, rice, and dark chocolate. I get it. I understand. I'm right there with you. But they're loaded with heavy metals. Loaded. Even organic has a lot of them. I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news. This is why I'm so upset about baby foods. Notice, they tested 168 baby foods. That's a lot of baby foods. Like, if I went to the grocery store and I looked at the shelf, there's probably 150 to 200 items, so they pretty much tested all of them. 95% of them contained lead. Too much, by the way. 75% of them contained too much cadmium. Cadmium is, you know what, I'm not going to get into cadmium right now. That's a really interesting, that heavy metal is part of the grain's germ. So when you have wheat germ, you get rid of the wheat germ, you keep the cadmium. The wheat germ helps you remove cadmium. Said I wasn't going to go into it. I just did. 73% of them contain arsenic. And 32% contained mercury. These are all too high levels. If you now know that's in there, are you looking at your baby food differently now? How much better does mother's milk look now? Then we have one more way you poison yourself, and that's known as non-native EMF. Native EMF would be the earth, ocean, the forest, the wind, the sky. ELF, EMF, those are both the same thing, basically, is produced by both natural and artificial sources. Naturally occurring ELF, EMF is associated with atmospheric processes such as ionospheric currents, thunderstorms, and lightning. Here we go. Artificial sources are the dominant sources of ELF, EMF, and are usually associated with the generation, distribution, and use of electricity at the frequency of 50 or 60 hertz. Power lines, electrical wiring that's in your home and at work, and common appliances like electric blankets, televisions, hair dryers, computers, etc. You know what's in that etc.? That would be your phone. All produce ELF and EMF. The widespread use of electricity means that people are exposed to ELF, electric and magnetic fields in the home, in the environment, and in the workplace. Yep, it's all around you. Get outside and ground yourself regularly. Even in the cold. Do it for 5 seconds if you have to. Run out there, put your feet on the ground. Just get it. Do anything you can to ground yourself. And there's lots and lots of ways to look that up. I got time going here, so let's move on. So the other way is through malnutrition. So you have under and over. So when your nutrition is too low, you can either have low body weight, that's not good. You can stunt your growth as you're growing, that's not good. You could be wasting away. That's called sarcopenia. That's a really bad condition. And there's a lot of mental conditions people go through. I don't want to use the words because the people listening, I don't want to title you because that's not who you are. You're a person and you're struggling and you need to eat. The other thing is you need micronutrients. Those would be vitamins and minerals and all that kind of stuff, not just the macros like protein and fat. And then when you have overnutrition, you get overweight. A lot of people doing too much nutrition. Now that would be macro. Very few people are getting too much micronutrition. That's pretty rare. But this causes so many issues. You wouldn't think, but if your body is breaking down because you don't have enough nutrition, it's dying, little parts of it or too much of it in tissues and organs or wherever. And then your body has to clean that up. As it's cleaning it up, you're going to feel it. And those are known as symptoms. And those symptoms are then classified as diseases. Many of the diseases that you've heard of are all just a conglomeration of symptoms associated with malnutrition. Isn't that amazing? It works the same way with poisons and other things, but essentially that's how it works. The next way that you can get into issues and diseases is through the structure of your body. Now, I brought this graphic up because this structure is talking about your nervous system, your muscular system, circulatory, digestive, and organs, and kind of like a little bit about the skin. But the point of this one is to say, yeah, without enough collagen, you don't make connective tissue, which means you don't hold your body together. Simple as that. So by being a crystalline water structure being, you have to have silica, you have to have electricity, you have to have salt, and you have to have protein. Those make up your structure. And then the ability to move that structure, like muscles, or the circulatory system, or your nervous system, right? You need all of that to come together. And the best way to do that, you need food. And good food, things like bone broth and meat. If you want to eat organs, great. You eat seafood and those kinds of things. They have collagen. Plants don't have collagen. And so you have to rely on your body making it. You will not make enough, and your structure will break down. And you think, well, I'm a vegan and I don't seem to have a structure problem. You do. You just can't see it yet. And you're not able to make it fast enough. So you then work out. And as you work out, your body steals from other areas collagen and puts it where it needs it. And in this case would be your muscles. It's going to steal the other organ tissues or tissues of the bone or the brain or skin. It's just the way it is. I'm sorry. I understand the vegan movement. I used to be one and it ruined my health and I knew what I was doing. And what I want to show you here is the bones. So collagen holds everything together, including bones. So where and how does the skeletal structure with the muscles and all the protein start from? That would be your feet. We did a barefoot shoe episode recently because everything from your toes up to your neck starts with standing on your feet. If you don't learn how to make this strong here, which I'm pointing to the feet and the ankles, and then up into the calves, then your knees are never going to be good. Your hips are not going to be good. Your spine won't be good. Your shoulders won't be good. Your elbows and your wrists and your neck. It starts down here. This is really important. So shoes will destroy you, or they can help you. But you need to spend as much time barefoot as you can, and you need to build heel, toes up. Don't just work out your upper body. You need to work on all of this. This is foundational, isn't it? Spend as much time or more time feet up and less time shoulders, biceps down. That was a poke at, all the bodybuilders out there and people who want to look like an underwear model. If you've never seen bone, this is at 100 nanometers. Isn't that amazing looking? Those on audio, it looks like an alien surface of a planet or something. It's beautiful. It's artistic. Yeah, it's gray and white or a black and white photo, but it's still amazing looking. So I thought if you've never seen what your bone looks like, that would be a neat thing to see, right? For those of you on video. So my next thought for you is it's never too late to actually get going. You think when you're in youth, everything's going to be fine. I'll deal with it later. Don't put it off. You know how they say in banking or finance, if you took $1 every day of your life and put it away, what that would be when you retire, or $10 or whatever, all those kinds of compounding things. Well, your health is the same way. Little things each day, each month will add up to your whole life. So when you're young, that's the time to think, all right, when I'm going to be 60 and 70 and 80, I don't want that spiral graph that I just showed. I don't want to have those things. Those were hundreds of things. I don't want those. What do you want? Well, I want to still be doing whatever sport I like to do when I'm 80. And yes, there's plenty of people that do that. Injuries are usually what stop people from doing a lot of exercise or sports when they're old. Regardless, you need to start now. Don't wait. And I don't care if you're 70. You need to start now. You got to do something. And it starts with these. Do not let poisons into your life. Find out what toxins are in your life and around you. Everything you deal with, get rid of them. That's everything from food to what you put on your skin, to what you're sleeping in, to what you're showering in, all of it. Then go see a chiropractor. Go see a shiatsu practitioner. Go get massage. Do yoga. I don't care. You got to do movement in order to create structure. Learn how to walk properly. Eric, I know how to walk. No, you don't. Trust me. Most people don't. When you look into it, you realize, wow, I walk weird. Like, it's affecting you, and it's probably the fact that you have the wrong shoes. But you want to take away the poisons, create good structure, good food, stay away from pharmaceutical drugs and things like that you don't need. Pick a diet, something that is very nutritive. Lots of fermented foods if you don't want to be a carnivore. If you want to be a carnivore, you got what you need. Don't have to worry about it. You don't need fiber at all. And then be careful in your life a little bit. People end up with problems and injuries because of things like they don't wear safety glasses. They're not careful in their life at work. They do weird things, walking upstairs, or there any number of things that could cause you to fall or break a bone or cut yourself, or all these kinds of things that are never good for you, but could be very traumatic. Drive well. Don't be a jerk out there on the highway, because not only are you affecting you, but you're also affecting other people. Learn to be careful in life, but also you still have to be adventurous. You just have to do it in a safety conscious way. I hope this was clarifying. You can funnel everything down into poisoning, malnutrition, and trauma, with structure being that overlying. If you help with that in your life, everything gets better. Appreciate you listening. And hey, if you guys ever want to do a live stream Q&A or something like that, if 10 people decide they want that, put it in the comments. If 10 people do it, we'll do one. And if you like it, we'll do more. Otherwise, thank you for listening. Take care of yourselves.